Hello, everyone. First of all, hello, Monday. Happy Monday. I mean, wherever you are. So welcome to VCTV, which is a venture capital TV from LATOKEN. So today we have yet another interesting topic on investments into fintech and some into blockchain as well, depending on how the speakers are going to be to speak about it. The reason we chose this topic on a Monday is because we've seen a surge in investments into fintech space, especially into the fintech space, because of the cashless society that we are living in right now. So I would like to start with the speakers who are here today from Singapore, India, and somebody who is in lockdown in India, but is a global citizen. So we have Eddie Ler from Singapore, like he's already been on our shows before. We have new speakers, Evan Lutra and Ajay Lakotia, joining us for the first time on our VCTV. Hi, Ajay, and hi, Evan. Welcome to VCTV. Ajay, would you like to, because you have come here for the first time on our show, I would request you to start the short intro about yourself and the company that you represent. Then we can go about asking questions. Sure. Thank you.
So, Sunny, I started as an entrepreneur right out of college. Did that for about 8 years. This was into manufacturing and technology industry. Got an exit in 2008. Was in Europe for some time to spend that money. And after that, started working with a consulting firm in Europe. Helped them set up their India office, took a break from life, went to Indian School of Business, ISB, to do my MBA. Post ISB, worked with ICICI Bank in their investment banking team, and then moved to Singapore, was with Vertex for about 5.5 years. Investing in India, both as indirect and indirect investment, which we say fund of fund and direct investments in India. And after that, I moved out to set up a fund by myself, came across a large Chinese conglomerate called Fosun. We had set up a fund with Fosun called Fosun RZ Capital. Spent about 2.5 years with them, moved out to set up a new fund by myself, which is called Gravity. And now, in last couple of months, I have now set up a large fintech platform, and we'll be coming out of stealth mode in about 2 months, probably a month from now. So we'll talk a little more about that, but now I'm moving from the VC side back to the entrepreneur side.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. From entrepreneur to VC, from VC to entrepreneur, people keep on switching. Very exciting, interesting space. Welcome Ajay to VCTV. We've just lost Evan. I think his Zoom actually crashed. He just messaged me, but he's going to join back. In the meantime, Eddie, welcome back to VCTV. How are you today?
Hello all. Hello, Sonny. Thank you for having me again. Hi, everyone. My name is Eddie Ler. I'm a former World Bank consultant. So I was on this panel, I think 2 months back. I'm currently an investor with Vantage. We do pre-seed and seed. We focus on Southeast Asia, but we make exceptions as well. So we have done 8 so far. We've had an exit in 4 months ago to a New York investment bank. So that was for an insurtech. 8 months ago, we had a Series A that was for 18.5 million. So currently, we are looking at 2 transactions. One, it is to acquire a distressed fintech. That's one. Second one is to participate in a Series A for fintech. So happy to discuss more without disclosing names for sure in this panel.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sure. Wow, good to know about distressed fintech. Love to know more without disclosing names. Thank you. Welcome back again, Eddie. Now you've Ivan back on our show, whom we lost for a bit. Hi, Ivan. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Please welcome.
I think the Zoom app just crashed. Should I introduce myself right now? Is that the plan?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, guys. I'm Evan Lutra. I'm a serial entrepreneur, angel investor. We build and invest in fast-growing technology companies, among other things. Focus has always been using technology and creating value for people, solving problems. We're an incubator fund. What we do is we work with non-tech entrepreneurs, and for the right entrepreneur and the right idea, we invest money in them. But more than that, we also build companies with them. We provide them technical resources and a whole tech team to bring the idea to life while they can focus on the other parts of the business. We've done a lot of companies through that. over 100 different equity investments, 150 different crypto investments. We have multiple investments in the fintech space. Looking forward to talking about some of them today. I can be very open with names. We're also looking to start new fintech companies, and we have platforms ready to go that we have proven a model in different countries that we want to bring to different countries now. The combined market cap of the companies that we have built and invested in is over $1 billion. We have tens of millions of users across various different platforms. We're pretty diversified when it comes to sectors, into many different sectors, from cannabis delivery, alcohol, gaming, health tech, fintech, many different sectors. But the focus is to, if there's a chance to grow fast, we are interested. But yeah, happy to chat today and talk about some of my experiences.
I know Ivan. I met Ivan in all the conferences all over the world, and he is heavily invested. He also has heavily invested in crypto in the past, but also tech as well. And he's going to share more. Thank you, Ivan, and welcome back again. I would like to start with Ajay. Ajay, please share your recent investment that you've done in fintech in the last 3 to 6 months, and why was what stage of investment, and what was the decision-making factor for making that investment?
So, Shani, I've been closely exploring this cross pollination between fintech and agri-tech. And while we all talk a lot about fintech, most of the investments have either been into lending companies, or the investments have been into payment companies. Interestingly, there's a very large market which is out there right now, and this is the whole agri sector, which is ripe for disruption. Lending to agriculture is not an easy job to do, because then you have to have some kind of technology to reach out to this large mass. Incidentally, now we have a smart mobile phone in every hand. Every user has it, and that's made this reach possible. And I've been looking at the sector very closely for a very long time. And then finally came across, and this is a name I can reveal, the company is called Unnati. The founder is the CEO of Paytm Mall, Amit Sinha. He moved out of Paytm and started this. What they are doing is they are basically creating a large platform for lending out or giving digital credit cards to all the agriculturists out there. And this is just something where you have technically like 500, 600 million people you can reach out to a digital platform to help them start with their agriculture process. Very interesting platform. I invested in the seed along with a couple of other investors. They're now raising their new round. They're now raising about $8 to $10 million. A lot of inbound interest from a lot of other investors.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, because I had somebody in my panel who were providing micro credits to the underbanked. So what's the difference between a digital credit card and a micro credit, if I may ask?
Yeah, that's a perfect question, right? So microcredit is basically a bank, NABARD, there are a lot of institutions who want to reach out to this particular strata of society, this particular segment of society, but they don't have tools to reach out to, right? So Unnati is not the one who's doing the lending, but is creating the platform to enable this lending.
Okay, so they're connecting the lenders with the farmers.
Yes, yes.
So one of my investments ties right into that. It's called FD Cash. I don't know if you've heard of the company.
Yes, we are aware.
Yeah, it started the former CFO of Deutsche Bank, and it's doing great. It's been a couple of years since I invested in them. I was the first investor in. It's already 10x since I got in. And what they basically do is, it's very interesting. They provide, they first build a credit profile of the people who have never had any credit. You know, the people who selling the coconut on the street in India, or the guy who's selling vegetables in a shack in Bali or somewhere, right? These guys never had access to any sort of digital payments. So not only is FT Cash giving them a POS, but they're building a profile. Okay, how much is this guy going through? How many payments is he doing? And then that's how they started first, to provide a POS service to these people. But what they learned was they were able to build credit profiles of those individuals and finally give them credit. And that grew to be a faster business. And over the last couple of years, they've really expanded. It's very interesting how there's a huge market here. And I think the same can be said for many new countries, just like India, just developing fast, and we want to go after them too. So
while you're saying this, there's a very interesting, brilliant idea, and maybe this is the right platform to discuss this. And I do both both investments in private and public companies. So it's a very good time to invest in Facebook, because as WhatsApp payment gets enabled in India, right, the surge of payments that is going to go through that one single platform is going to be huge. And the kind of numbers, revenues you will see on Facebook balance sheet, it's going to blow you after 1 year. So keep a watch out. Keep seeing if WhatsApp is actually being allowed by regulators to do the payments. But if this happens, just buy Facebook.
I agree with you 100%. Two big reasons. Because one, I use WhatsApp for a lot of my business. I'm traveling so much, and I just prefer you to use that to tell all my people what to do. And I use it a lot already. It's the most used app in my phone. And second, I believe in digital payments. So I 100% agree with you there. But more than an investor, I'm also an entrepreneur at heart. And this is one of the sectors which I feel has a big chance to grow. So the recent investments that we have been doing is actually incubating a wallet app in Maldives, right? So Maldives is actually, there's a lot of high spending tourists going there, right? And they're buying all these services. And it's the convenience is not there right now. There doesn't exist a mobile wallet app that you could pay with. I, for one, don't carry cash or credit cards anymore. Yes. I prefer to just use my phone for everything. But in Maldives, you don't have that. So we are right now working to launch a wallet app there. So I really feel like the same way there's this opportunity in India that's been going out, the big guys like Facebook are not going after it. And there's already huge competition like Paytm. But you can still replicate this model in a lot of these countries which are ripe for disruption. Right, in the Caribbean islands, Africa, where they still don't have that sort of competition, and you have the chance to go there. I mean, anybody watching this, if you're interested in launching a wallet app in your country, please do reach out. Evan at evanluthra.com. We have the technology ready to go. So, I mean, I definitely see a huge opportunity, but I 100% agree with you too. Like, Facebook will come in, they will take a big part of the market right away. But in the big run, it's better for everybody involved.
Sure. And Ivan, I love Paytm. It's a brilliant business, and the way they have pivoted from where they started and the way they have expanded into multiple verticals, it's brilliant execution. But the difference is me and you, we can actually go in and probably invest in Paytm, but look at the rest of the guys, right? They can't get into Paytm. It's not a listed company, right? So what do you have as a proxy on the other side? So if I don't get into Paytm, I'll probably get into WhatsApp, and that's the perfect proxy for me.
Makes sense. I get your point from perspective of the average person looking to invest.
Exactly.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Wow. Great perspectives, both Ajay and Evan, and touching on Maldives and other countries as well. Thank you for that. Next, we have Eddie.
Yep. Sorry. What was the question again?
So basically, a warm-up question is an opening up session question. What are your recent investments during this pandemic?
Yes. So last month we had an investee. They just raised a round from a family office. So that was not in fintech. That was for education tech, based out of Singapore, focusing on China. Yep. And as mentioned just now, so currently looking at 2 deals, which I'm very interested in. Correct. Yeah. One on the fintech distress acquisition, the other one on fintech in Malaysia. Yep.
So you're currently assessing those 2 startups, is it?
I'm currently doing due diligence. So on the first one, which is a distress asset, as you know, right now in this COVID environment, there are a lot of bankruptcies. Yeah. Both in the corporate side and on the startups.
Yeah.
There are a lot of startups that wanted to IPO, but they couldn't. Anyway, this is not a good time. Yeah. So this is where we see opportunities to pick up fintech startups that could be interesting for bolt-on acquisition. Although Vantage, we are very early investors, pre-seed and seed, and we do B2B SaaS, but there are always exceptions. And we think that this is a great time now to really look at certain sectors, such as fintech, where we can do a bolt-on to a larger play. I would disclose that currently we are looking to acquire with a view to IPO on a quick notice. So and this is to write what we envisage over the next 2 years, or what we think the equity market will grow. Correct. And
So
currently we're doing currently doing the due diligence now on the fintech. As you know, because it's distressed assets and there's a lot of cleaning up to do. So there's plenty of work. So I hope to share more updates in the next few months.
Okay, are they what stage they are? Like what the company, the distressed assets?
Yeah, the distressed fintech company, they've been around for quite a while.
Right. So Eddie, are you buying the technology or the team or both?
This is very good. So I mentioned distressed asset, right? So so obviously I'm not keen to buy over the entire company because there are a lot of skeletons in the closet, and we are still opening up the data room, correct? And basically we want to strip out the liabilities, which we know that there are a lot.
Yes.
But for the acquisition, we like it because there are more than 100 clients, mainly the FIs around Asia, and these are the nice names that you can think of.
Okay. Okay.
Correct. And the technology has been around, very robust. So there are some people that would have left already. So we need to make sure that there are procedures and processes whereby
we are writing off of the book. You are keeping the tech. You are getting the people, and
the clients.
You're getting the clients.
The clients.
Right?
The clients, correct. So I do calls with fintech unicorns in Asia. Ask them, look, this is the profile of the target, and this is the valuation I'm thinking of. I want to get feedback. And interestingly, I received soft feedback that this is interesting for other unicorns to come in. So and the valuation is very good. So that's kind of due diligence I do. I don't really want to open up the data room, but I have to. But really, by sounding out potential strategic partners.
Yeah, I'm super curious. How do you value a business like this?
Because it's distressed asset, right? We look at the EBITDA multiple for sure. That's one, correct? Yeah, and we also look at what will be the loss of revenue, because with any distressed asset, although the contracts are multiple year and very sticky with the FIs, there's usually like a 3 to 6 months notice period for the FIs
Are you letting the founders go, or are you giving them an exit, or are you keeping them locked in for next couple of years?
Well, I can't disclose much, but current intention is to lock in the key management and to bring in a strong sales team so that we can ramp up the revenue, and then at the same time prepare the IPO prospectus and get going. Potentially, we may look at an SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company, which is very popular in the US.
most probably.
Yes, we don't intend to list in the US for sensitive reasons. So it's going to be this part of the world where we think it will be more interesting, because it is not a big acquisition, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just very interesting. And I would say that 5 years ago, if I would acquire this, it will be the price would have been 10 times higher.
Wow. Okay.
Correct. So and right now today, if I can strip off the liabilities, and assuming I don't have a massive outflow in the 100 plus FI clients, and these are multiple contracts, because these are like utility services, right? It's like the piping for the FIs. I think it's a very sweet deal. So just on paper, and when I check with with a potential partner, a fintech unicorn, I asked them, this is the number. I think I'm very happy.
You're finding the buyer before you do the acquisition yourself.
I am. I always want to make a market, right? Because I'm upstream. I try to lock in an asset to do due diligence. So that's during my 3-4 months period. But I want to make sure that downstream.
How do you find such companies? How do you come across them?
That's my job, right?
Or is
it's network, and it's also opportunistic. So I would say, because for pre-seed and seed investor, typically there are tons of VCs out there, tons of investors out there, correct? Just now I mentioned that I was a former World Bank consultant, so I was back then focused on Southeast Asia. on the financial institutions. I did a lot of work for Vietnam, for their central bank, for their state-owned banks, for their joint stock banks. So after the World Bank consulting days, I went to the Middle East to work for a financial center. So over there, I helped to establish a $2 billion seed fund with a sovereign wealth fund there. That's where I get to look at a lot of PE deals, the other extreme. So what I do right now, because it's super upstream, I try to focus on finding other potential either financing partners or strategic partners where they can come in as an anchor before IPO or post IPO. Basically, I just want to do BD deals, correct? Once I can seize an asset, I do the BD deal so that the valuation step up, de-risk some of the story, because I need to find a way to mitigate the loss of FIs. But if I can bring in the fintech unicorns, maybe from India or from Asia, that likes this story, that can then boost their valuation. So I'm looking at more than 10x. On paper, I know I can get 10x easily. Now it's who I want to partner with so that we can make this a nice story and have liquidity, correct? That's why I say it's IPO, because nobody wants to get stuck now. Yeah, so that's on that fintech distressed asset, which I think is interesting. On the Series A fintech, I think I can talk more later if there's time to, but that's more plain vanilla.
Oh, okay, sure. We have enough time between 3 of us. I really love this first half of the session where it was like really engaging between the speakers themselves. So great. I mean, that brings me to the second question. So each of you are an investor, each of you have portfolio that you hold on. I would like each of you to give an example of a startup that has amazed you through these difficult times in terms of pivoting from or expanding on where they were, and the revenue sort of dipped down and they managed to move quickly to another area where they could, pull the strings and get going. I would start with Ajay, if you could share an example, a green story with us.
Okay. Sunny, not without sharing the name, right? So this has basically been a wallet company where they came into lending, and with this whole COVID syndrome, and in the last couple of months, almost all the fintech companies which were into micro lending or who were into unsecured lending, they really have gone through a very difficult time. But interestingly, what these guys have done is they moved away from the kind of lending they were doing, and they shifted very quickly into different kind of secure lending products. They reinvented their whole lending system. So in unsecured lending, what you do is you basically read the data from SMS, and this happens in India, right? So the user allows the platform to read all the SMS, build your balance sheet P&L, and do a predictive analysis saying, does this person have an ability and the intent to repay back, right? And if they think this is going to happen, they give the loan to a specific amount. They switched this back because irrespective of whatever you would read on a SMS, irrespective of whatever intention you can assimilate from that system, the user, because he's not getting his salaries, he's not going to be able to pay back right now. Right? So they reinvented their whole system. They went into secure lending, and they shifted from unsecured lending to suddenly into gold loans. And think of this.
Gold.
Right, think of this, right? So their target market is blue collar workers. Their target market are people, right, who generally in a society like India would have some kind of gold assets which they would borrow against, right? Indefinitely. And this is normal human practice. And they just capitalized on this, saying, okay, this makes sense. And while people are into a situation where they'll require a little more loan, let me just switch from unsecured to a secure lending product. And this is what they launched in a couple of weeks, and it has taken off extremely well.
Yeah, that's a very good example,
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So Evan, another successful.
I'm involved in a lot of companies, but I'm not operationally involved with them, all of them. So I don't know how most of them pivoted. But personally, I have companies which I'm operationally involved with where I've either seen one of the two. Either they have completely shut off due to COVID. I own like dozens of coffee shops, which I run myself in Delhi NCR, and they all be shut off. So there's no way to pivot. I mean, We thought about doing delivery, but that didn't work because in delivery, there's so much competition that's gone up, right? Everybody's doing this, all these, and one kitchen makes like 5 products, 5 different restaurants. So the market is just blasted when it comes to delivery restaurants. On the other side, we've had companies which have really grown due to COVID, right? I mean, one of these gaming apps that we invest in, which is actually possible because of very recent regulation in the fintech markets, is to allow skill-based gambling, right? Skill-based gaming. And in this, you can gamble real money. It's legal in about 38 states right now. Every other week, we get legal in another state. So we just opened up in Maryland in the US. And where we allow people to play games like Flappy Bird or, very simple games. And in those games, people can bet real money. And we have, after COVID, we saw there was so much traffic. Initially, we were betting against the house. You would bet $10 with us, and if you beat the score, we give you 20 back.
Well, so what kind of companies are these?
This is called Game Form. So it's one company. It's a platform where we have a bunch of games. So we have tons of different games on it. So you can play different games and bet money against the house. But before Corona, we were not having so much traffic, right? So we were doing betting against the house. We could manage it on an individual level. But after Corona, there were so many people who started playing these games and betting money on it. We were growing 400% a month, right? So and then what happened is we changed to a tournament mode. So instead of betting against us now, you bet against each other. So there's a weekly tournaments, there's daily tournaments in each game, and whoever gets the top 3 scores gets a part of the pot. But we always make money. And skill-based gambling is getting legal in many countries. Even in India, it got recently legal. Dominican Republic. So we're thinking about launching in these countries where we already have a team on the ground. But it's been really, really great. We have the co-founder of Zynga, Eric. He just already invested in it. We're talking to some other great previous entrepreneurs in the gaming space who already built unicorns to come in and help us out. But we've seen tremendous opportunity in there. Even in India right now, there's only one fantasy gaming app really. It's called Dream 11. You can bet on like real-time cricket games, and it's growing crazy. I mean, this app has so much money riding on it right now. It's unbelievable. And how fast it's grown due to Corona, people gambling on it. I don't know if you know about it, Ajay, but it's grown really a lot in the recent times.
It is. So I'm actually watching this sector very closely, talking to most of the founders in this sector, seeing how they're doing. This is something very close to my heart here. So we should talk offline about this. Yes.
100%. I mean, we're thinking, right. Actually, there's no competition to Dream 11 right now. There's this unicorn sitting there, and there's nobody trying to compete with it. To me, it's very interesting. It's a country for people.
Even so, there are about 137 competitors to Dream 11, right? But from a size perspective, Dream 11 is like up here, and rest of the guys, it's very difficult. Once it's kind of a winner take it all market, because once you have built that kind of reputation, and once you have these users who are already sitting out there, unless you give them a very differentiated experience, it's difficult to take a copycat away the business that you have created, right? So why would I move out from
this? I get your point totally, where you're coming from, but just to talk about here how fintech actually grows in India, right? I think one really good way here is, and especially if we can enable this blockchain easily, would be to build like a multi-level model of sorts, right? So let's say you're playing Dream 11, you're betting 10,000 rupees a month on this, right? But if I was the one who invited you and you're losing 10,000, I'm getting 1,000 from that. And if you're winning 10,000, I'm getting 1,000 from that, right? Yes. And then if you enable a model like this in India, where people would go crazy for free money. So I think there's really an opportunity here to compete and give an actual really tremendous value add to the user that Dream 11 doesn't provide. Yeah. And I think especially considering, and this would also just not even just grow the fintech market along with it, because you're just basically giving out these credits in digital payments. Yes. So even for somebody like Paytm, for example, to do something. So Paytm just recently came out, Paytm First Games, which is somewhat of a competitor to what we are doing in the US in like game form. But I think there's still a tremendous opportunity here. And like you said, like I didn't know about these other 137 competitors, but I do believe that there's no real competition that's out there that's trying to show them something.
Great. Thank you. I mean, guys, take me offline when you go offline with the discussions.
Okay.
Talking about India, I just want to I just want to ask a very quick question to Evan. Like, what about what's going on with the crypto space, crypto industry in India?
I mean, in India, it changes every other day. So it's they have a different news cycle going every other time. In India, it's manipulated a lot with the news cycle, right? India makes up a significant part of the global crypto markets. I would even say in the very low double digits. There's so much manipulation in the market. It's so easy. You can push out media, and then the WhatsApp University spreads it further. So, but what we do know, that there is good things happening. We are seeing some progress, but I personally don't stay so much relevant to the Indian crypto market. On a global level, definitely making some investments and seeing some major returns. I mean, possibly even the beginning of another bull run in the DeFi space. It's too early to say. I don't want to jinx it, but we are seeing that kind of numbers coming out.
I'm so curious on this. So are you getting exits in your crypto investments, and are these exits in cryptocurrency, or are you able to get it in dollars?
Sorry, you cut out this first part of the question. You said exits.
Are you guys able to get your exits in crypto? And if yes, are you getting these exits in dollars?
So in crypto, when you say an exit, I mean, I don't sell my crypto, you know? I'm not trying to sell. I have liquid, fiat currency coming in from various businesses. I'm looking to invest money, and crypto happens to be a significant part of my portfolio. And right now, I mean, I invest in companies like some DeFi company like Chainlink, for example, just 2 weeks ago, and it's doubled my money, right? And then there are some other very high risk projects that people are investing in that they've seen crazy gains. I'm not so much investing in those kinds of projects right now. But DeFi projects like Yearn Finance, some projects like RML a few days ago, they're seeing crazy gains, but they're fully liquid. If that's your question, yeah, I can sell them for $1 or rupees, cash, Paytm, bank wires instantly over the market, very easily. I do a lot of my daily transactions in business with other crypto entrepreneurs, so I do pay them in crypto. So I would pay them in Bitcoin, I would pay them in Ethereum, and it's very easy to change these cryptos. And they're on exchange, so it's very easy to change them from one to Bitcoin or Ethereum. But personally, I'm not looking to exit, so it's mostly growing. I'm a believer Bitcoin's going to cross 100K very soon, and the whole crypto market is going to grow very fast. And it's one of the better bets right now. So I'm not saying go put all your money in Bitcoin. Anybody watching this, all I'm saying is it's a great bet, and it's if you're in a position where you are well taken care of and you can take some risk, it's one of the better risks to take. Against the US, I wouldn't bet on the US dollar right now. That's what I can say.
I think it's the same thing, same narrative coming from everybody, like all the speakers we have. Don't bet on US dollars. But what you see, like, what about the institutional investors? Because I read like a lot of institutional players also coming into investing into crypto. So is that true? Is that not true? What are your...
On a global scale, on a global scale, there are some institutional investors who are looking to invest. They already invested. I mean, it's not a new thing anymore. It's like there is a lot of funds that are already in the space, and there's a huge amount of funds. I would say the billions of dollars, and it's been happening for a while now. But it depends on which markets you're talking about, really, right? How much penetration there is. On one way, it's from the US market, from the European market, there's a big penetration, but you don't see any Indian institutional funds investing.
So, Sonny, what has happened out there is this dip test. While we can say billions of dollars have come in from institutions, including institutions like Goldman, but this is like a fraction of their total balance sheet. So it would be like 0.5%, 0.2% of their total balance sheet. More so to have saying, how does this look in future? And let me hold some assets, but that's pretty much it.
And that's why it can go to 100K, because there's all this capital that's still waiting to come in, right? There's all this Bitcoin, the total market cap is very minuscule compared to how much the other kind of assets have, right? So, I mean, there's a huge amount of opportunity still there, but exactly, because the world's changing. You're seeing so much manipulation with the markets. The economy is going down, the stock markets are going up. A lot of the things don't add up. So that's why I believe something decentralized, and that's why there's so much belief in the people, right? But obviously, Sonny, we're from this industry, so we see a different kind of bias, right? When you look at it. But if it works for us, hopefully it works for the rest.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Evan, for those insights. I'd like to quickly move to Eddie to share his experience about the recent investment that he made in the Fintech Series A or company, and what were the best practices that you followed, and why did you top up this time, or was it like a, yeah, please share.
Yes, Sonny, thank you. Yeah, so as with any crisis, there will be opportunities. So this COVID-19, it is a once in a 50-year or once in a 100-year crisis, depending on which data point you look at. You can trace back to the Spanish flu or the SARS, if you like. But whatever the data says, this is a great opportunity to invest in great companies. So the companies we like to invest in will be those run by founders with unfair advantage. Maybe they have good relationship, maybe they have domain expertise, and we like those with a chip on the shoulder, meaning to say that they have something to prove. Yeah, because entrepreneurship is very difficult, and it's always better to bet on a founder that wants to prove herself or himself.
Right.
At this moment, I would say it is the best time to go shopping. So I mean, I don't mean going to buy.
Shopping.
Yes, go shopping. Shop for investments.
Oh,
This
okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I don't mean Alibaba or Tencent or to do things. No, I mean to really invest. Even Warren Buffett has started investing already. So,
Eddie,
correct. 4 billion into Japan. Since when he invests outside the US is very interesting. So I hope he's doing something right.
I mean, I just look at it from a very big scale, right? I mean, the way you look at it from a wider picture is that there's a recession right now, and in recessions, there's always an upturn that.
Yep.
Majority of the companies will recover, and you will see great growth, right? It's also a great time to build companies and start new companies, right? Yep. Because in a recession, you really are able to, when you have a lot of free time, people have free time staying at home right now to think of solutions for great problems, right? Some of the biggest companies from Airbnb to Uber to whatnot got started in the last recession, right? So the biggest companies that are out there today, and I think Fintech's going to play a major role in the next generation of these big unicorns that are going to come out there. I think this recession is going to lead for a lot of, because what's really happened in this recession is we've seen that the richer have got richer and the poorer have got poorer. So the income gap has actually widened. The richest people in the world have really become a lot rich. I mean, Jeff Bezos almost doubled his net worth since before Corona to after Corona in 2020, right? Mukesh Ambani from India is close doing the same terms. And I'm talking about the people that are already high. And then it trickles down to the 0.01%. But after that, you see pretty much everybody has lost in some sort of the other way. So there's now a real chance to be able to fix this big problem of income. And this is coming is because even this fintech systems and laws out there don't enable to serve the masses. In India, the Corona relief package of sorts, which is about 20 lakh crores, 1,000 crores, which is about 15 lakh, which is about $25,000 per Indian. If you give 25,000 to per Indian, then everybody is already okay. But that's not what happened. The way it was structured was you could only take a loan depending on how much of a loan you took before. So if your company had a loan for 1,000 crores, you can only take a loan for 1,000 crores. If you had a loan for 1,000 rupees for $10, you can only take a loan for $10.
Even, and the most interesting part is, if you had never taken a loan, you can't take a loan now.
So the point is, there's really an opportunity to fix these problems with a system of decentralized finance, and to really take away this kind of a system that's not serving the masses, which is not serving the public good. So I think the next big set of unicorns are going to come from the fintech domain, and there's a real opportunity here to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ajay, to your point, that's disappointing. Totally. You can't take a loan this time. I mean, when do you take a loan?
You can't take when you're already out of the picture. You don't get Corona relief. But even if you can, majority of the companies have never taken a big loan in the past, so they can't really get any part of the package to serve them. So the dudes who don't really need the package and the loan can get like interest-free loans now. So the big companies who don't really need the capital because they were already close to monopolies they can become even bigger monopolies now for no interest. So that's the problem you see with the current fintech market of sorts. I mean, even when you talk about fintech hasn't really solved big problems right now. And that's where decentralized finance, and that's why it's grown so much. And that's why I believe blockchain and crypto in general has a huge market, is because it can solve this problem for the markets where it hasn't been able to solve problems, right? A country like Nigeria, you can't use PayPal there. So PayPal, which was one of the earliest fintech innovators of sorts, you still can't use that. It's the sixth biggest economy in the world, right? So there's this, and even if you can use something like mobile money, which has really brought a revolution in Africa. I mean, I was there in Africa myself right before Corona, and people don't use credit cards there. So I broke my iPhone. I couldn't buy a new iPhone because I can't use American Express. And the iPhone 11 costs like $2,000 there. And most merchants can't take that transaction on the card. The only thing they could take it was on their mobile money system, which is pretty much like their bank account. So they don't have bank accounts there. They have mobile money systems, right? So their money sits on their mobile wallet that's linked to their phone number. But like, even in this, the average 35% of people have almost no credit with these mobile wallets. 35% of the people. And those who have credit, they have a credit that's under $1 worth of credit. So it's like majority of the people have basically less than $1 of credit with these platforms because they haven't been able to penetrate so much, or really, there's a huge market basically. I think DeFi will solve these problems.
So, Ivan, I think this is beyond decentralization. I think this is a policy issue, and most importantly, globally, none of the government is well equipped to go with a shock like COVID, saying, if something like this happens.
You're wrong, because DeFi doesn't involve policy. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't involve policy. You don't have to wait for the government to come up with a policy to enable that. You build trust peer-to-peer, right? And that's what's really happening with DeFi. And yeah, there's a long way to go to enable that, to build that peer-to-peer trust, because it doesn't really exist also in countries like Africa. But there is real innovation and real progress and growth happening in a very, very accelerated phase. It's growing very, very fast. And that's why I've seen these investments go like thousands of percent, hundreds of percent in less than 4 months.
Exactly. I agree with Evan on that. So yeah, let's quickly move to the next question we have. So with as Evan knows us very well, we connect investors with startups. We have a big pool of startups looking for seed money. I just want to know, what are your advice to those people who are looking for seed money right now? Eddie, would you like to share some insights or best practices for those startups who are looking to raise seed money right now?
Yeah, happy to share my 2 cents worth. So as mentioned just now, we look for founders with unfair advantage and a chip on the shoulder. So above and beyond that, I would say the best money is customer money, customer revenue. Okay, so many a times when I see founders at a very early stage, very great profile, I always ask them, why do they want to have investors to come in? Because if it's just for the money, then I think that's not interesting. Because at the very earliest stage of a company, what they usually need is not the money. They need network, they need advice, they need resources, and they need customers above and beyond.
Yeah.
So I will always say, look at the business model. Is there something that you can do to get quick wins in terms of logos? Yeah, if you're B2B, even pilots are good. With or without MOU. If it's B2C, then do you see that spike up in the traction? At this moment, in the COVID environment, every fundraise, it needs to last longer than before. Before COVID, I would say, just make sure your round size is enough for 18 months.
Right.
But right now for COVID, what I hear from every investor, every downstream ones is, you need to make sure your business plan, your fundraise can take you for 2 years or maybe 3 years. This just shows that investors at the downstream are a lot more conservative. They definitely want to see a business model that is not burning cash like before, but can show a path towards sustainability. Now it's pretty weird, right, to say this when I meet pre-seed and seed. companies.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird, because I would say I would rather they take the next 7 years to just keep burning cash and just grow. But there's that tension happening. So let's see what the downstream, the Series A and the Series B people are looking at. But from my point of view, it definitely is important to make sure that the business model is robust enough. And at this moment, because everyone is staying at home, there are many people. So for me, I would try to avoid any ideas that are too physical. That's just too much friction. So for me, I will avoid, if I may, physical companies such as those with like physical traveling or whatnot, because it's just harder. Nobody knows when COVID will come back again. For me myself, I assume COVID will be here for the next 2-3 years, and I'm happily sitting here on my chair with a nice backdrop. I'm not going to go traveling. Yeah, but anything that is on, okay, because we focus on B2B, anything on remote communication, work productivity, I think these are interesting. Anything on education, I think this is interesting for us. Yeah, happy to share more.
Great. Thank you, Eddie, for that. Ajay, what about your advice to those startups looking for a seed or a pre-seed investments?
See, I think it's a very good time for most of the companies who are going digital, right? It's a very good time for all these SaaS companies who have been sitting on the sideline to raise capital, because for them it's the growth is all online, as Eddie said, right? It's not offline growth that they're going after. Very interesting time for edutech companies. Very interesting time for healthcare companies who are shifting from physical care to now digital care, right? If people already have a decent proof of concept, they already have client wins, and they have plans to grow digitally right now, it's a good time for them to go out in the market and raise capital. Raising capital, again, I've been on the both sides, both as a VC, as an entrepreneur, right? Unlike what we hear in news, that people have raised millions of dollars and it comes over a discussion coffee table, it doesn't happen like that. When you hear about a news of, say, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million people, which is being raised by these startups, before that, they have spent many, many years thinking about the idea, building that idea, executing that idea, getting the team together, getting the thesis together, getting the note together, right? So it's perhaps right place, right time that works well for them. But before that, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. It's very important for actually businesses, startups, founders to first think through a profitable business to be created rather than business to be created with VC money. If your business has legs, if the business is something which can grow, the money will come in, irrespective of whether it's a family office, whether it's VC money, because they'll start chasing you for a good business. Think of a VC mind, right? When I am investing, I'm not there to build business. I'm there to help him build business, but I'm there to make money from my investment. Every time I invest, I think of who are the next 3 investors who are going to come in and how am I going to exit this business, right? If a founder himself has thought through all these phases saying, this is how I start, this is how I grow, and this is how I exit, right? He will have investors following him. The mistake that a lot of founders do is when they read so much of news on TechCrunch, from Economic Times, on all of these news, and they'll say, oh, XYZ has raised money, let me build a copycat, let me also go and raise capital. That's where they go wrong. Because they're not thinking through business, they're just thinking through fame and fortune, saying, can I go and raise money from a VC? The story ends there. You have to look much beyond than raising capital, saying, how am I going to build a business which is credible?
Very good. Thank you, Ajay, for those key vital points. Our viewers are mostly startups and also investors. It's going to be very helpful for them. Thank you so much, Ajay, for those insights. Next, we move to Avan for sharing his best practices and advice for those startups who are looking for a pre-seed or seed investment round.
I mean, when it comes to pre-seed and seed, it really depends also a lot on the interest of the investor or your relationship with that investor. When it comes to pre-seed, especially because it's so early stage, And most of the time, pre-seed means basically it's like pre-idea. So before a product is even built. We invest a lot in pre-seed ourselves. We have an incubator program. We do about 2 investments a month almost. So before Corona times, now it's a little bit less. We're looking for more opportunities. But basically, it comes down to what we are interested in, right? At that point of time, what industries interest us, and also how we can add more value to the companies. If this is something where we already have a company and a strong user base, for example, in gaming, we had an app that has 10 million active users already there, but we have to shut that company down because of a change in the law. So that's why we're looking for more companies in that space to be able to use that asset value that we already have, right? So we look for that a lot. How can we add existing value? I mean, liquor, I have a liquor company myself. So I'm like, we have done multiple liquor app or alcohol related companies in the past. Can we do something else in that, right? So that's what really matters in pre-seed. So you want to look for investors or funds who have related investments to you. That would be the first step you should do when you're looking for pre-seed investments. And also there are companies which focus on that, but it really depends on what that person is looking for, and also your relationship. A lot of the time from the biggest companies side with the friends and family round, right? From something like Amazon, where the first round came from the dad, to many different startups where pre-seed was always friends and family coming in. They tend to be best. I mean, this is a world where something big happens, we all share it on our social medias, right? You can always ask your friends to share something that you're coming up with or you're bringing out to the market. So I think that's the most important in a pre-seed stage. In seed stage, definitely more things start coming into play. We personally ourselves are focused on growth. So we look for how the companies are growing month over month growth. We also have other criteria that we look for. Is this how many entrepreneurs are already in there? Because when we try to make investments, depending on the industry, and if it's not something out of the box, we try to have a little bit significant share. So we also don't want to have foreign co-founders already, which we see a lot in India, actually, a bunch of co-founders in one company. Well, what we feel is over the many rounds a company may have, there has to be enough equity for all the co-founders to keep it worth their while for a long run. Right. So there's different criteria, but for pre-seed, I will always say find synergies between who you're talking to and your company and product.
Excellent. Thank you. So basically, we have a few more minutes before we close the show. Eddie, I've got a question for you. Besides, because you mentioned that you are talking to 2 startups for like one of the distress and another fintech to invest into, right? So besides that, are you open to explore other startups, this year? I mean, obviously as investors, you are constantly looking at good projects for investment, right? So what are you exactly looking at? What kind of projects are you looking to invest into in the coming year?
Yeah, I would say the coming year, but our thesis is to invest in B2B SaaS companies. Right. It's just that right now, because it is in exceptional times, that's why we also look at other strategies that are interesting to us. Correct. So we keep investing, we keep looking, and this is a good time to really find the founders that have skin in the game. And as what Ajay mentioned just now, Evan mentioned just now. So even in the last crisis, that's where you see the future new unicorns being built, the likes of Airbnb or Uber and whatnot. So certainly in this time, we're going to see the next generation of unicorns, decacorns being built. And to us, it's always based on, again, the founding team having a chip on the shoulder, wanting to make a difference, whether it's in the fintech space or whether it's in the Bitcoin blockchain space.
Right. Excellent. That's a very positive, encouraging news for all the founders out there, as long as all the points are covered that these 3 investors have just pointed out. Okay, thank you, Eddie, for that. Ajay, I mean, are you looking to invest, and which areas are you looking to invest in exactly?
Actively investing generally at a very early stage, anything between angel to seed. And mostly I'm looking for, it's cliche, but then we are always looking for disruptive startups. Large markets where tech can really disrupt this, generally traditional businesses which can be disrupted with technology, but something where you don't really need a foot soldier to go and explain, teach how to use a product, right? It's something which is digital, very easy for you to really spread it across, and not just in single geography. Maybe you can use vernacular languages, even go beyond India, right? Go into Southeast Asia with different languages, but that's the kind of business we are looking for. The reason I'm sticking to fintech is, it's like in times like this is the underlying current. Before any other system gets built out, before a logistic gets built out, before a delivery gets built out, before food tech gets built out, right? The undercurrent before that is the fintech part. So say for a food delivery, unless there's a wallet which has been created and which is really able to roll it out, you can't do a food tech startup. So that's where we say this is the building block of the next generation of startups, and that's where I'm looking at fintechs.
Excellent. So it's all about technology during these times. Thank you so much, Ajay. Evan, the same question over to you. Like, what are the areas you're looking to invest in?
For me, like I said, it ties into my last answer where I say, like, for me, it's also very diversified and always based on interest. And, I see how fast the new market is going. And if I have interest in that space, and if then I'm looking forward to it, right? Like I said, it depends on what's keeping me busy at this time, or what I see has a big opportunity. Most of my investments are related around that. We do look for early stage companies, or even look for pre-seed companies where people have ideas and we can provide value for them with more than just money. I have an audience very soon going across 1 million followers just on Instagram, and we can pre-sell products to them, right? So I mean, that's the main idea, is to see how we can add the maximum value. But a lot of the time is just what interests me. It just comes down to that, how the company even catches me. Some of the best investments I've done, which have gone on to give me crazy returns, I'm talking 100x, is because I met somebody in a nightclub, right? He had a table next to me, and he pitched me this idea to smoke cannabis and deliver cannabis. And that went on to become the fastest growing on-demand company in the US in 2016. And it's worth over $500 million. And I got in before it was just an idea, right? Because the guy, I met him and he got me, and I was interested in cannabis at that point of time. And the same just happens to alcohol now. But it's always about solving problems and seeing how you can make a major impact and also leave a big legacy behind. And I think some of the biggest problems you solve are around these fast growing industries where there's a huge demand.
Right.
So I think as far as I have similar interests to most people, I will do well. So, but we're always also looking for new entrepreneurs. For us, it also always comes down to finding the right talent. If we are able to find some great talent or a strategic advantage of sorts in a new country or a new geography, we can start a company just to capitalize on that talent, right? Let's say somebody comes to me from a country like, I don't know, some Caribbean country like St. Kitts and Nevis, which most people don't know about. But they say that, hey, we have 1 million people living in this country, island country, and we want to launch a mobile wallet product there. But we are very good with the government. So even if the laws don't exist, we can change the laws very fast. So to me, that's a very, very interesting opportunity. And this is something I'm very interested in doing, because we already have the expertise of launching a mobile wallet in multiple countries. And we already have the team to do that. What we lacked was a strategic advantage that person has. And then maybe they don't have the regulatory connections. Maybe they have a huge audience already. In a country of 1 million people, they're the biggest singer. So they have 500,000 people following them that are local. So even if somebody like a big singer comes to us and says, hey, I want to, let's do this. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting opportunity. We'll fund it. We'll launch it. You get us the audience. Because we already have the team. And a lot of these teams, backends are already in the same office for us. So it's basically starting up at scale. And going after these markets, you become ripe for acquisitions from these bigger Facebook sort of players who want to come into that market. So to us, that's very interesting. And sometimes that's more than what we already need to just begin and go and start up in that country. But like I said, it's all very, a company is like a child, I would say, right? So everybody is very, very different. It's hard to say, I'm looking for this type of a kid.
Right.
It's hard to find that, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, totally understand. So basically, the point that I'm coming, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for sharing your insights and giving me 1 hour of your valuable time. I understand everybody is because of the digital world, online world, we are super busy with Zoom calls because it's easily accessible from the comfort of your home. Thanks for giving your time. I hope you enjoyed speaking to me and speaking to each other today. Eddie, Evan, and Ajay, thank you so much. The reason I asked you this last question about investments, if you're going to invest, because we have a big pool of talent, big pool of startups and founders with us who are looking for people like yourselves. So hopefully, you could help them, achieve their goals depending on whatever criteria you mentioned just now to be successfully funded during this time. So all your profiles are on our website, www.latoken.com/events. I mean, this is the event section, but there's a profile section as well. And we have you all there because you are our regular speaker, especially Eddie has spoken at other sessions as well. So thank you. And hopefully we can find some synergy between us. So hopefully we'll be like, talking another show about how we synergized after this session. And because, the times are crazy. And so we believe in online collaboration these days, and calls getting closed, deals getting closed on Zoom calls like this. So it was a fantastic show today, connecting with Evan after a long time and speaking to Ajay for the first time, and Eddie again connecting back. If you want to watch our shows, which runs from Monday to Friday, and if you are interested to speak at Fintech or other topics that we cover like travel, tourism, Fintech, if you are interested, please do let me know, because you have my WhatsApp number. Then I can always invite you to speak at other panels that we have.
Done. Next time when I'm speaking on your channel, I think I'll be on the other side of the table as an entrepreneur. Eddie, Ivan, just a quick disclosure. So launched a new startup coming out of stealth mode, and I'm going to be the founder, CEO of this business. So moving out from the VC side and starting on the other side of the table. But I'll keep doing investments. I'll keep doing angel seed investments personally. But this business is very close to my heart. I've been working on this for almost last 1 year, and launching very soon.
Sounds good. Congratulations, mate.
Congratulations,
Ajay. Yeah. Ajay, happy to chat separately.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
definitely.
You.
And anybody else watching this, thank you guys. It was a pleasure. Hopefully we added some value to your time. If anybody's interested in ever starting a company or looking for some investment, please reach out. Always approachable, evan@evanluthra.com. But thank you, Sonny, for having us. And hopefully I'll see you again soon in some part of the world, hopefully in person.
Last time I remember you gave out a big check of 50,000 euros to a founder straight away on the spot. So guys, if you're
looking able to give out more checks soon, I hope to be able to give out more checks very soon.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you're looking for funding, Evan is there. He's available as long as he likes it. All right. Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of the show.